Once you start to do something consistently, you're going to start to believe that, you know what? Damn, I could do this. I actually pretty good at this. Once that belief becomes a deep conviction, then things start to happen. Now, if you want to get good at something, you hear me? It's going to require consistency and repetition. Say it again. Consistency and repetition in order to get good at something.
We talking about practice. You understand me? Practice.
Whenever you come to an emergency, a stressful situation, you're not going to rise to the level of your expectations. You're going to fall to the level of your training.
Yeah. We talking about practice, man. Practice.
You're going to be your habits and rituals. You better get a habit and a routine and rituals that serve you, because if you show me what you're going to do, because here's why. Under pressure, you'll always go back to your habit. So you've got to have habits, rituals, and routines that serve you. Under pressure, you'll always go back to your habit. You'll always go back to your habit.
We're talking about practice. Not a game. Not the game. We're talking about practice. We're talking about practice, man. I'm talking about practice.
Welcome to Sebastian Practice Sessions. We practice our motorcycle slow speed operation skills weekly here in Sebastian, Florida, using Robert Simmons' Be the Boss of Your Motorcycle 9 exercises, which contain invaluable road skills. Everyone is welcome regardless of skill level or riding experience. We narrate through the exercises so you can get a clear understanding of the intent of each exercise, our individual challenges with each one, and where we are looking to improve. We always have a great time, support each other, and get a little bit better every time we practice. We hope you enjoy this session, and we hope you pick up a useful nugget or two. Thanks for joining us.
Practice session 68, and we are bundled up. I've got my heated vest on this morning. We've been cooped up in the house all week because the weather's been nasty, so we didn't practice on Wednesday. But today we have Rich and Will and Mike just showed up, so we have a full crew. We're excited to be out here because we haven't ridden since last Saturday. I know for the people that are in the winter months now, in the snow and the cold weather, they can't ride at all, so we shouldn't be complaining. I know that, but we're in Florida and we complain when the weather's not nice. But it is beautiful today. We got this nice black top. It'll be warm shortly. I've got my chaps on, I've got my heated vest on, but we'll be peeling off layers before we know it. So we're gonna get started and have some fun.
Talking about smooth starts and smooth stops. It's a warm-up exercise, and it's also essential skills for any more advanced training that like exercises 2 through 9. So we need to learn how to properly start the motorcycle from a stop and stop the motorcycle from its motion, all at really, really slow speeds. So there's 5 rules. We say the 5, not rules, 5 steps. We say the 5 steps all the time. We make sure the bike's in first gear. If that seems silly, for anyone that has any experience motorcycle riding, have you ever been at a light or been at a stop where you're getting ready to take off and you let the clutch out and it's not in first gear? Of course, we've all done it. So step 1 is make sure it's in first gear. Step 2 is cover the rear brake, meaning have your foot over the rear brake, maybe gently touching the pedal. At least on the Harleys, it doesn't activate the brake. preload the motorcycle and keep it loaded. Preload the motorcycle, give it some RPMs and store some energy there, ready for our use. When we let the clutch out, when we bring the clutch to the friction point. And the fifth step is, when we feel the bike moving, we pick our feet out. This is where we see all of these in exercise number 1. As Mike begins to move, his foot comes up. He drops his foot beautifully just as the bike stops.
Will's got some mud on the off-road bike.
Will still practicing the fundamentals. A little bit of a different exercise on the dual-purpose bike or the adventure bike, but as I always say, he's here practicing, working the fundamentals out. That young man is very good on Lori's Road King, so he'll find himself a bigger bike. Slow and smooth, small inputs, very small inputs, keeping the bike moving forward, even at such a slow pace or speed that we need to correct it with our handlebars. So you can see the correction when someone's going the right speed, slow enough, you see them correcting with the handlebars. We're just working on getting warm, getting the bikes warmed up, working the friction point. We're not applying heavy brake. We're not applying any brake until we get to the stop.
Low ride. Low ride.
Working with no external microphones again today, this practice session, so a little more dependency on the voiceover. We're getting some to come through. We have our mics back now going forward. But you can see Lori working the bike beautifully, nice slow speed. You want to really just practice when you're doing this to just go creep as slow as possible without using the rear brake. Big point. No rear brake on this one. You can of course go a lot slower if you kind of bull and jam the clutch and the brake and do a super slow speed. We're not after that. We're after looking after the clutch and how slow we can go with just moving that clutch in and out of the friction point. And at the end of that, we bring our feet off the board and apply the rear brake for a nice smooth stop.
KLX going slow. Nice. No rear brake. There you go. Stop. Nice.
Slow and steady, again, we're looking for handlebars. The handlebars are moving, that's what we want to see. Nice and slow, no rear brake. You can't even see the clutch, kind of my left hand moving in and out of that clutch friction zone. And a nice smooth stop. This exercise, trust and believe, builds the habit of letting the clutch out or opening the clutch when you start to feel the bike falling, when you start to feel imbalance and possibly the bike going to tip over. We're trying to overcome our instincts and let that clutch out because the bike will pull us forward. The bike wants to stand up when we give sufficient power to the rear wheel. So we're following the 5 steps. Get that clutch right before the friction point, hold it in the ready position, then the rider gives us a nod, and we yell, foot up. Right when we feel the bike just starting to tip, We let that clutch out. Exercise 4, left turns and right turns. Same as 1, 2, and 3. Well, same as 1 and 2. We use 3 if we need it when we're in like the middle of the turn and we start to feel falling. But think of the basics of 1 and 2. Number 1, smooth starts and stops. So from our beginning point, we're smooth starting, and we're including the slow ride. Everything's slow as we're proceeding through these turns. And then we're simply adding a turn. So what's important here is we have to make sure that we have the clutch in the right friction point. That was beautiful knot on my part. Clutch on the right friction point, little pressure on the rear brake. You got your throttle with enough power in the motorcycle, elevated to 1800, 2000 RPMs. And we're seating on the motorcycle in such a way that allows us all, the combination of all those things, to keep the bike straight up and down as we negotiate that turn. A lot of riders that don't practice can do a turn with speed and momentum. We're working on such dexterity and control with our motorcycles that we can do it with no momentum, going straight up and down very, very slowly. This exercise simulates turning on a gravel or a slippery surface road, sand, gravel, etc., etc. Anybody who rides any significant amount of miles on the road on a motorcycle will encounter needing to turn the motorcycle on less than ideal surfaces. Could be, a lot of times it's a restaurant, they may have dirt parking lots. A lot of times it's maybe a country intersection where there's a bit of an apron, or there's like loose gravel in the middle of the lane as you're turning. You got to know how to do that slowly, or you're going to have a problem. There's Mike in his BMW, what is that, a RT 1200? It's interesting, Mike today, this particular date, showed up and he hadn't practiced in maybe only 2 weeks. And he was feeling pretty wobbly. He was feeling a little bit out of practice. That's how perishable these skills are. A real tendency for all of us is to go a little too far across the lane before we start to turn our handlebars. And while we're focused on small inputs, what I'm learning, what's really important, is the speed at which we turn our handlebars. Makes a huge difference. So see, Mike goes a little long there. We have to be able to engage the clutch, get the bike moving, and then slow it down, right? In such a way that allows us to turn. So right now, I want to twitch those handlebars over and get that steer tire moving more quickly. Because we want to avoid the cones, obviously, that's the practice. The cones aren't cones in the real world, they're concrete poles and things at gas stations, etc. We want to get around those. Cars, whatever, fixed objects that are hard. And the far side is potentially other cars, other lanes of traffic. So we want to get inside of those safely and very, very consistently. So nice slow approach. I got to get those things turned. It's just The slow speed is nice. Like it's good that I'm able to do it nice and slow. But I really want to work on snapping those handlebars over, getting that turn started quickly. Commit to the turn. Maybe snap's not the right word. I don't want to give someone the wrong idea, but I want to get that front tire turned quickly. So starting across the line makes it a little harder. See, the thing is with that, it makes it harder, but what forces you to do is start with the handlebars turned quite a bit. Right turns, everything's the same, a nice slow approach. How do we get that bike standing straight up and make that right turn? I think the distance across is 7 feet. Mike doing a real nice job at the approach. Actually speeds up through the turn. It was a really nice turn. That looked pretty good. Looked like a pretty good slow speed turn. Head and eyes always. And looking in the direction you want to go. We say when we practice head and eyes at the camera, because that just happens to be the direction we're going, what we're looking to have that head and eyes already there. We're not looking down, we're not looking at the bike. That was a nice catch up on Lori's part. Looks like she got stuck for a second. Corrected. The off-road guys need to know how to do that standing up when they're bombing through the woods. I may be going brakeless there. Usually when I wobble like that, I'm brakeless. When you go brakeless, it's even more important to have a really slow approach speed because you gotta have it pulling you through. When you have to have it pulling you through all the time anyway, but when you have that rear brake, you can trim a little speed as you're giving it a little bit of power to the rear wheel. When you're brakeless, you can't really trim any speed. So, and we're not supposed to lean, so that's the challenge. Mike rushing right up to the line. A little bit long, but looks good. Nice and smooth. Smooth stops, smooth starts, smooth approach to the line. We want to do a nice powered stop. If we're stopping, I wasn't stopping. I think I'm still working on brakeless. Nice and slow. For whatever reason, Rich ran long a little bit there. Lori catches a cone. So stopping across the line, you really got to get the handlebars turned quickly. That was a pretty good looking turn. Rich rolling that one. Nice slow approach, head and eyes over. I think she's going brakeless there. Sometimes it's just a little bit tougher to get those handlebars turned when you're brakeless. Really start with them turned here. That's all right. Now they just have that dexterity inside of that clutch friction zone, so you can just move the bike the way you need to. Starting a bit of a level up there. It looked okay to me. Exercise 5, start wide, stay wide. So we're working on shifting the motorcycle through the cones. Not a cone weave, not hitting the cones. We're working on maneuvering the motorcycle, introducing lean, working in the clutch friction zone, keeping the RPMs where they need to be. We're working on sweeping transitions left, right, nice and wide. That's ideal what Lori's doing. Really moving the bike right and left. This teaches obstacle avoidance, teaches the real time or the quicker maneuvering of the motorcycle. First exercise of the 9 where we're introducing lean. We want the bike to see the bike leaning over. Anyone who's been riding a motorcycle understands the need to do this around obstacles on the road. You really just want to be good at making the motorcycle move the way you need it to move. Transition left to right, working around the fixed object. That's it. Should be a sweeping movement, wide from the cones. We don't want to just barely miss the cones, ideally, just like Lori's doing it. Exactly like Lori's doing it. U-turns 27 feet from cone to cone, so we're working on 27 feet to do a U-turn. And the green cones are 18 feet. So we're working on everything we've learned, introducing even more leaning, even more turning. So here we're focused on head and eyes, coming around. Mike does a nice job with that. Head and eyes, then handlebars, keeping the right clutch friction point, keeping the right RPMs, which are, ideally always the same or similar, 1800, 2000. Can't be afraid to lean, getting that thing right over. So Robert's always saying you got to commit to the lean. You got to start the turn immediately and really commit to that lean and bring it around. So everyone here today is pretty good at these maneuvers. So it's not a real stark contrast to what we're seeing in terms of what we're able to do. But still, what we're after is effective U-turns. They don't have to be 18 feet. We're looking at nice, smooth speed is to be consistent. Get the bike moving into that friction zone. Use the power where you need it as you're making a nice, smooth U-turn. Very good on-road skills. People are deathly afraid of U-turns. Never want to stop with your front tire turned when the handlebars turned. Very risky for a tip over. Mike's always very good with head and eyes, bringing that bike around. The key, as near as I can figure, is keeping the power right where you need it with the bike, right at the proper friction point. Allowing the bike to pull you around. You gotta be brave enough to turn those handlebars and trust it enough that you have sufficient power to the rear wheel that it will bring you around. Mike feeling a little rusty. Usually he's able to do those 18s pretty easily. Everyone's got their favorite rights and lefts. I'm a little stronger on my lefts, although this particular practice session 68, my rights were coming off pretty well. For me, it's a matter of when you're doing it enough times and then you pick up something like, oh, hey, that worked. Put my body weight over in a certain spot. Some positioning of the body usually for me, and it comes around. So this day I was getting my head and eyes off to the left of the bike, if that makes sense, off to the left, counter sitting, and then getting my head nice turned more toward where I'm going. It felt better on this day. There's Mike. Oh boy, almost farted around too much. Deep lean there from Lori. Kept your foot on the boards, feet on the boards. That's great. Working on a U-turn from a stop. A little bit different, just different set of skills you got to use. Getting the bike launched from a stop and into the proper placement in the friction zone, so you have the right amount of speed. That was a good one. Bringing it around. Mike gets a good 18 there. Guys are pretty good. Will's just goofing. Very deep. Not really necessary, but good practice. That's why we practice. Learning where the limits are of the motorcycle. The parking lot is the place to do all of that. Getting a nice lean, getting into the turn quickly. You want to come out of the turn in an even way. Here's Will, gonna try to do some fun. Then he takes off like on the side of it. Just having fun. Figure eights, obviously moving the motorcycle in the shape of an 8. It's teaching transitions. We're transitioning. That's the key. We're holding the turn all the way around until the side and then turning again. Using the space. Lori's using 2 parking lots wide, so roughly 18 feet. Bringing it around in a nice tight 8 shape. Really good clutch control, really good maneuvering. Here, Rich is signed up for the March 1st Be the Boss practice session with Robert up at Space Coast. We're excited for Rich to participate in that next level of training. Mike, very good at that exercise. A lot of good practitioners today. It's no problem for Will to make the dimensions, right? It's such a small bike, but he is still working on the fundamentals of it. Better head and eyes. Gonna work that around. Here comes Lori from the other end. Just something different. She's very smooth. Always head and eyes leading the way. Head and eyes, then handlebars. Just a few things necessary in order to really, I don't want to say master. I mean, is anyone ever a master? Only a few. But really become proficient at moving these big motorcycles pretty nimbly, pretty adeptly around smaller maneuvers. Now, Rich's Fat Boy is a Softail model. All that means is he doesn't have no fairing, no bags, none of that. But the lean, which makes it lighter, right, easier to flip around. But the lean angle is a little bit less on the Softails. I think 2 degrees, nothing crazy, but a little bit less. So Rich has to work with that and does a really nice job. You see Rich touching his boards off quite often, but he does it in a responsible way, just to understand maximum lean angle of the big black fat boy. We're looking for smooth. We're looking for small inputs. Mike didn't like how that felt. Dropped his foot a little bit. So this one I'm working on not looking so lumbering, trying to be not so slow. But what I found is as I'm gaining a little more speed, I mean, it looks a little better, but the faster you go, when you want to make it within a certain area, you have to lean more. And I was really at the point where I was hitting my boards a lot. So, maybe that's about it as far as Big Fred and speed and the figure 8 at that dimension. You can go faster if I used all of the area, all of the width of the area. That's 27 feet. So that's what I was trying to do, is I widen it out a little bit, get a little more speed. Again, speed is not essential. It's just, I feel so lumbering doing this one. I actually got way long in this, trying to go too fast. When you go too fast, it carries you forward. I'm not saying I was going too fast, but faster than I'm used to. Excellent camera work there. Bring it around. Usually we want to have the motorcycle in the camera, but sometimes not. There we go. Yeah, it's okay. So it looks a little bit Like there's a little bit more speed there, so that's all I was after for today. You do it so many times, right? You work on new things each time just to keep it interesting. Offset double serpentine, a series of S turns. We have cones set up. Really, it's gates. So imagine just what we were doing with the single serpentine. Now we're having it widely offset, and we have cones set up side by side. So we have a little one and a big one there, if you can see that one, where we're going through the gates. So the idea is holding the turns. So we're going through the gates in a direction that is at least going straight forward, ideally heading toward the next gate. See how Rich is. It's a good angle to demonstrate this. He's holding it left and then he's switching it right. Just hold it, hold it, hold it, transition. So again, working on adeptly transitioning the bike, moving it quickly and smoothly. Holding it right, transitioning left. Works really good. See it and hold it. I'm telling you, people miss that. People that miss it on this exercise, they just don't hold it. There's something about some mind thing that says go to the next set of gates, go to the next gate directly. But really, you're holding it. Nice tight U-turn. Now watch her hold it to the right. Transition left. That's the exercise. Hold it, hold it, hold it, transition right. She's holding that all the way to the left. Teaches transitions. Clutch friction point. It's not always the same as you're needing to maneuver these fairly sharp turns as you're going through these gates. Mike doing a nice job of holding it. Nice and smooth. Yeah, it's a whole different world for Will and his adventure bike. We should probably have the cones even tighter for Will. Maybe we'll have a special Will day, one of these practice sessions, to have all the cones in super tight formation to be more of a challenge for him. So now I'm trying a little bit of a different camera angle. I think it worked out pretty well. See what you think. I tried to go real high. Got an aerial view. It's all about the transitions. Hold Holding it, transition left. Hold it, transition right. That's really good. Head and eyes looking at the next gate. Almost looking back. Really good. Good field of vision. Nicely done. Nice tight U-turn. Got a little close there. It's hard to, you can't see at all if the camera's actually even picking this up. So we lucked out a little bit. Got some good footage, just a little bit of a different angle. Like trying the inside cones here. We set up some inside cones to make it a little more challenging. It just requires a quicker transition, a little bit better, I guess, clutch control, keeping that tight as we're maneuvering those tighter cones. Nice, really nice. Pulls it back, brings it around.
Running. You don't have to do that.
Here's Fred and I giving it a try. Again, working on not being so clunky, getting a little smooth. Nice, smooth, steady speed. It's going to require a little bit more lean. I get a little long here. I'm bringing it around. Hold it in transition. More focused on speed here, so I'm using more of the outside cones. See, right as we transition, that requires some dexterity on the clutch control that I'm still working on. So you're gonna transition, get some clutch. Transition, get some power. So everybody took 2 runs. As I went by this time, I'm like, hey, Rich, want to come along? Yep. It always screws me up when we do this, which is why I want to do it. I see him right behind me, and it messes up my line. See, I get going too far. I don't hold it enough, because I want to get away from him. You know, he's right behind me. He's harassing me from back there, so it's good practice. A long ways to go in the transitions, a long ways to go in making it happen at speed. The boards on my motorcycle are 2.5 inches lower at the heel than stock. So I'm gonna hit those boards a little bit sooner than you would normally, but still plenty of room to do what we need to do to get adept. And finally, the Snowman. Watch what Lori does here. This is just remarkable. This is a clean run with a nice aerial viewpoint, all the way, not only all the way up and down and then back up in the other direction, but she does a single here perfectly. It's not just perfect because it's inside the cones. It's perfect because it's inside the cones and close to the cones, right? So now she's going to do not one loop, not two loops in here, but three. That's not super easy to do. So still clean, still along the edge, cuts it a little bit there, but what she's doing now is changing the direction. So she's going to do a challenging move here, take a left, hard right, back into the exercise, and she's going to do the same thing from the other direction. Do a single, plenty of room. For anyone who's watching that hasn't tried this, quite a challenge. Like, then she's doing three in the other direction. It's one thing to do it one time, but you stay in the right speed, you stay in the right lean angle, stay in the right clutch friction point 3 times around. Buddy, that's something. So now the challenge is to keep it clean all the way back down. That's just exceptional. We call that a double triple. So good. The key with Rich is that wheel placement. Beautiful control, beautiful lean angle. Everything looks so good. He's hugging the cones. He's using all the real estate. It's right when he gets here. Look at that, beautiful. So we really stressed that he hugged the cones and he overshot them a little bit. But man, I was really happy to see that because he got all over the cones. Up until now, he wasn't getting close enough to him. He actually got close enough to him. Right there. Oh, he would have made it. Closer every time. Mike's really close. I thought the aerial view might work, might be helpful. He's just, so far this practice session, he's just not committing. He's got decent wheel placement, leaves a little there, but he's just not committing. That motorcycle in particular has an incredible lean angle. And he just, he just needs to practice on that and he'll get that down. just trying to stay on the outside, trying to hug the cones, use all the real estate, get the movement. You know, the bigger circles now, we've done it so many times, are just like, you know, let's kind of get through them, but we really want to stay focused and do the exercise, be true to the exercise. So here I am on my strong side, the left, and that comes through okay. Buck ones are getting a little bit more consistent. So I'll make the triple on the first side. Switch the camera angle a little bit. My mobile camera operator didn't have me in the picture. So now we do that. That's a little bit tricky to change directions in that second circle, and now I get to my rough side. So I left a lot of room there and did not clean. Bummer. So did not do the double triple, so that was terrible. Yeah, I have to do better at wheel placement on my rights. So we need to get just nice, slow speed, better wheel placement. Gotta come around. That was a little bit better wheel placement. Still leaving it. I'm leaving it right there at the 10, 11 o'clock. Oh, that's frustrating. Get over there. That's better. For me, I gotta get the wheel all the way over. Made it around that last time, but all the way over, and I gotta get my balance. Balance is not the right word. I have to get my body placement in such a way that I can really bring that thing around. So Mike leaves early. Placement, hug 'em, commit. He's just gotta get his wheel placement closer to the cones at the beginning. So way early. It may be hard because he's got that fixed fairing, like it's hard to see where his front tires is at all times. That's good, really good. Hits it right there. The only one, I thought he cleared it, but the only one he hit was that third cone. But really did a nice job there. So now we're doing a bonus exercise called to lean or not to lean. It's something we do with Robert. The cones are 10 feet apart, so we're working on, can we make it through these cones? Now this is a cone weave, right? So we're trying to make it through the cones without hitting the cone, period. But also a level up is, can we do the a real like single serpentine movement as opposed to just trying to clear the cones? Well, Mike got a little too wide. So I don't know. We were surprised at how well everyone did here. So we measured them again, but we kind of think they may be a little farther away than they usually are when we do it at Roberts. It just seems so much harder. But Rich here just cleans him. I mean, he does it. I don't think he hits a cone. He does miss. He misses one of them at some point, but otherwise, he did really, really well. Lori as well. Now Lori's doing a little bit more of a swooping,
I can't believe it's 10 feet. I mean, you're not even
and she
close.
drills it. We measured them, man. They're 10 feet.
Wow. Everyone's getting it. No, he doesn't, but still, think about the people that go to Robert's practice sessions. They don't have bags. All of those people don't have bags.
Mike has done this many times. He's done it a few times with us, but he's also done it up in Pooler and is done really well
Here comes
in
Will.
Pooler at Robert's practice sessions. So Rich is taking a wider approach.
Wow. That's pretty awesome.
Just a fun thing to do, just another
Sorry, Mitchell.
exercise to practice dexterity and motorcycle maneuvering. It's just child's play for Will on that adventure bike. Mike keeping him close. I think he nudges that one, and but I think he makes it through. I think he does a nice job there. This might be the one where Rich misses the very last one. No, he makes it. Here comes Big Fred coming through. Nice and easy, Fred. No problem. Yeah, I mean, it's true Rich doesn't have the bag. Oh, there's his miss right there. He doesn't have the bags, but there are a lot of people that show up at the practice sessions that we see on Robert's videos and in person in Pooler on bikes without bags, and they still can't do this 10-foot to lean or not to lean exercise. So kudos to Rich, and all his practicing is paying off. Mike gets a clean run there. Come on, Fred. Fred goes through it again. Working, deftly maneuvering his big wide body through those cones.
Okay, we just finished practice session number 68, and we actually added in the bonus exercise to lean or not to lean. I know that our cones are not as big as Robert's cones, so everybody was successful in doing it. So we will have to get larger cones in order to really do the lean or not to lean exercise. But for now, it's a boost of confidence to be able to go in and out of the 10-foot cones. So fun. We had a great day. Nobody got hurt. Nobody dropped their bike. Success. Okay, we finished practice session number 68. What'd you think there?
It's great as always. I felt really rusty today. I mean, like on every skill. And,
Really? Let me get on this side so the sun isn't.
I guess, I don't know how long it's been. It's been a month maybe, or maybe 3 or 4 weeks. But yeah, everything felt new. But that's why it's important to come out here every week.
Right? Skills are perishable.
Absolutely. I felt rusty. Towards the end, I felt better though. You know, I felt like I didn't have the radius to turn, which isn't true. It's just the skills weren't there.
Confidence wasn't there.
Absolutely. Confidence.
Yeah.
And I had it in the last drill. I had more confidence.
Awesome. Well,
Thank you
thanks.
very much for hosting.
What do you think, Will?
Pretty good. Pretty fun. I need a bigger bike to make it more difficult.
Yeah, we always think that. What is Will going to do up there? Although you will make the highlight reel with your spin out.
I not meant to do that. How to crash.
Power crash.
Yeah.
How about you, Rich?
I had fun today, and I stayed fairly warm.
Yes. I know, I'm baking right now.
Yeah. No, it was fun. It was good to get back out here.
Worth getting out, right? Even though it's cold in the morning, you don't want to venture out all the way to here, and then you get here and it warms right up.
Yeah. Good old parking lot.
Well, good. We'll see you next week.
Well, thanks for joining us for another Sebastian practice session. We hope you were able to pick up something useful, either what to do, what not to do, or both. Join us for future practice sessions where we always have new people at every skill level joining us. There's always something new to learn, and where we get just a little bit better every time we practice. Thanks again.